Hi everyone, thanks for joining us here today with the lovely Mira, who's now orbiting the home planet, the Romulans.
I was so lucky that I came up here before all this corona shit went down on your planet.
And are you looking around the galaxy for a cure?
Well, I mean, obviously I will on my way to various vacation planets. But I've got a lot of sunbathing to do, so good luck. Good luck, Terrence.
Live long and self-isolate. So, yeah, thank you very much, Mira. Thanks for joining us today. Obviously, I know who you are. I'm sure many people at the club know who you are.
Yay.
But to anyone who doesn't know who you are you?
Okay, so
Apart from a Starfleet medical officer.
It's my secret other alias job. So I joined the club because I know a guy called Ian, and Ian and I were both in bands. And Ian's band, because he's a massive nerd, was called Bolt Action 5. Never actually knew what that meant until I joined the club, and still don't actually know what it means, but hear a lot of Warhammer players talk about their bolt actions. And they have 5 of them, which is lovely. He brought me down to the club because I was looking to play D&D. And we have, as you know, we all miss our tiny little bar, freezing cold by winter, scorching by summer, sadly missed. So I'm a role player. I'm also recently collaborating with, I asked Sasha to make Unicorn Cloud Kingdom terrain, which she's working on.
We desperately needed the club.
We desperately needed it. We were lacking in the rainbow department. And I'm learning Frostgrave with a friend, Sarah, who is part of No More Damsels.
Yeah.
So we'll be No, sorry about all my pinging. It's my space instruments.
You're going to
Klingons on the starboard bow and other places. Sarah, my friend, and Naomi started No More Damsels to get girls into gaming, which is kind of easy because there are lots of us who do RPG. Yeah. And Sarah and I are abusing the hate facilities to learn how to play Frostgrave, which is a skirmish game.
Great game.
Which means little baby fight, little baby war. Yeah. And we're going to learn that. We're learning that at Hate. And hopefully when things return to normal, the No More Damsels will come and play war games at Hate. So loads of people who wouldn't normally play war games get to come and learn with you guys, us guys. And yeah, I'm learning Frostgrave and actually met the creator of Frostgrave at Hate because apparently he just hangs out with us sometimes.
I've played him at our last event, the Slime Lords event that Sasha so wonderfully organised. I actually got to play him in the final game, and he's a great guy.
He's lovely. He had to leave because he thought he'd get in trouble with his wife if he stayed out too late. But good for him, looking after business at home and on the
behaviour.
Yeah. So that's who I am.
Great. So, any of that sound of any interest to you? They should contact you and have a chat with you about it. So that's a good idea.
Yeah, please do. I'm Mira Manga all over the internet, and No More Damsels have Facebook. They have Twitter. So if you're a girl interested in gaming or interested in gaming at all, and you're any type of person, situation, or creature, yeah.
Here we go. Well done. That's pretty much the podcast there. It's great. Anyway, thanks for joining us today.
Nice to see you. Nice.
Should we do this question? So I'm sure you're familiar with the format. There's a series of questions to really challenge you and find out more about you. Not really challenge you at all. I know I said that. But it sounds like you're more of a role player than you are a war gamer. So when I ask you this first question of what's on the workbench?
It's so interesting. I'm so glad you asked me this question because one of my favorite things about Hate ever to happen in the history of Hate was I met a really special guy called James Flowers, who I love, loads of us love, and he was always, whatever I wanted to get into, whether it's war games or RPGs, he was really, really enthusiastic and would go home, remember our conversation, and send me like links to make it easier to get into new things.
Yeah.
And so when I started to play Frostgrave, I realised I was going to need a skirmish band. And we talked about this before, me and James, but I didn't really have impetus. And he told me about some Dungeons and Dragons cartoon characters that you could buy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, James, that's so perfect, because he knew I loved D&D, so he could tie my love of role-playing and that cartoon in. Yeah. So here is one of mine. It's a Ghibli. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means? Yeah.
Ghibli is the studio, isn't it? Studio Ghibli is like My Neighbor Totoro.
Okay. So
Chibi.
something like that. But this is
the kids at home will know. I'm middle aged now, so I'm like at home with my Betamax and my 8-track and stuff. I don't know anything about anything.
Same. I just wound up my gramophone. So this is Hank, and he is from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
The ranger.
He's a ranger, and he's now a little figure that I will use in my Frostgrave warband.
Lovely.
And I don't paint. I used to paint. I used to go to Games Workshop in 1989, in 1990, because I fancied Jim, who worked there.
Oh, he was hot.
And he was really hot. He had like blonde curtains. So I did try and paint, and I've never been particularly artistic, like visually. I'm very good at writing, storytelling. So I thought it would be really cool when the club can get back together, or maybe I'm going to send my minis out, and then people who remember James will paint a character each. That did make my friend Sarah wince, because she was like, oh, they might not be matching, but I think it'd be really cool, because then
they match.
I don't know. Do they need to match?
It's up to you. Look, if you've got a unit and they're all different, I would say, but this is a collection of unique individuals, not a military unit where they all wear the same uniform.
Yeah. Well, I do feel for people who have like 20 elves that need to be painted exactly the same.
Just 20.
How many is the most in an army you can have in Warhammer?
You can do hundreds.
You wouldn't do that though. You'd want some big ones. You wouldn't want, like, I bet there are those annoying people who go, oh, I'm going to use all 100 of the least powerful one.
Yeah, I'm just going to do goblins and just do as many goblins as I can take in 1,000 points, and then paint them all.
I think something that's characterized my gaming life is laziness and luck. In that, I know I'm lazy and I haven't got 2 or 3 years to get good at painting minis, but I'm really lucky in that people that I love and play games with will paint a mini for me. So Henry South has painted me a dwarf that I love, comes out very rarely because he's so good. James Flowers, after he kind of passed on, I was very happy to get a rogue from one of his collections. So I know that he painted that and I get to use that. And it's a real big part of the hobby for me, actually, that when I have a painted mini, it's a meaningful connection with me and a friend who's been so kind.
Yeah, no, I've got. I don't know if he painted it himself or got someone else, but I do have the War Doctor for Horus Heresy Miniatures, and that's on my shelf. So that's my my James Flowers model that I have on my shelf just to remember him.
Yeah. But you got one of the best minis I've ever seen that I'm really jealous of, and I do want to steal from you when you go on holiday. The Gary Gygax.
Oh, no. Greg has that.
Did you give that to Greg?
Yeah, to Greg.
You created. That's one of the best minis I've ever seen. I'm so jealous.
It was tough, but you know, when you're as skilled as I am.
Do you have any photos of it? Because we could get Gary to insert them now. Gary will be fine with that. I'm sure it's easy. Poor guy.
That's pictures of canning girls in here now.
Gary, just have us doing a dance routine here,
yeah. Sorry, Gary. We can edit this out.
We love you, Gary.
Love you, Gary.
Is that
get some contrast paints? I'm going to just advise you now to afters. There's a Kickstarter currently for Scale 75 are doing a similar thing as well. It's a paint where you spray the model white, and then when you put it over, it naturally runs into the crevices, and it just gives you it's a quick way to paint models to a reasonable standard. It's not as good as, you know.
When a Warhammer person says to a reasonable standard, it means I'll be allowed to enter these into a tournament.
Oh, absolutely, be absolutely fine. I use it myself. So I've got some models that I'm like, I need to paint these, but I don't really want to paint them.
Here's a question for you.
Get some done.
When it comes to a Warhammer player's ego, is it 50% appearance of minis, 50% gamesmanship, or do you just want to crush the other person and you don't really mind what your minis look like?
My days of wanting to crush people are long gone. I've been playing this long enough that there was a point in my life I'm like, that's crush. That's what it's all about. And I've really tried to.
You've mellowed.
Distance myself and more concern myself with army list creation. Just do something that's a bit more fun, because it's very easy to produce an army that's not much fun to play against, and it's a social contract. That's it. I'm playing a game. This is a game between you and me, and to win a game, really both players have to have fun. That's
I love that. Bless you. I think that's a lovely philosophy.
Yeah,
that comes through in role playing, because when we role play, you're always fun. You always pick a fun character.
That's what it's there. Yeah. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Having a good. I don't want to go. If I take this ability, that'll give me plus 15 in the fight, and then there's fireballs. And I'm like, what's fun? I know. I'll play the flute.
I am in some D&D games with people who are min-maxers, and if you've ever played in a game with more than one min-maxer, it's serious business. It's quite scary.
It's just I leave accountancy to accountants. It's not my jam.
Same.
So, next question. What's on your bedstand? What are you reading at the moment? Any books?
I just found this amazing fantasy author called Mark Lawrence. Mm-hmm. His writing is brutal. So he writes in a place called the Broken Empire, which is a post-apocalyptic fantasy world with hidden bits of old tech like popping up when you least expect it.
Nice.
So it's really interesting and fresh. It is so. I think it's even more brutal than Game of Thrones in terms of like torture and violence, and that's totally not me. Yeah. But the writing is so good. I've just been loving his Broken Empire books. I think he's done like 2 series. One is about a super cool fighting nun. One is about.
Who doesn't love cool fighting nun?
Yeah, man, she's good. And then one is about Prince George, one of those two. He's horrible. He's nasty. He's an anti-hero that you hate but love.
Yeah.
And another one about like a kind of one of those characters who's drunk all the time but seems to get out of scrapes okay just through luck and charisma.
Yeah.
But maybe. But yeah, Mark Lawrence, wow, completely smacked me around the face with his writing, and I think he's quite new, so good stuff.
Any role-playing games you've been, any books you've been looking at or anything interesting?
Yes, I had it here. I had a prop. You're so excited.
Oh. What's that?
Uncharted Worlds.
Yep.
I think it's based on the Powered by the Apocalypse system. I don't know. You know when you roll 2d6.
Oh right, yeah, the Powered by the Apocalypse system. I'm all familiar with that, obviously, Mira. But maybe you could tell the people at home.
I don't know what it is. I just listen to people in the game and pick it up to say. A lot of my career in any gaming club has just been repeating things I've heard said. Do you know what I mean? I don't really know what it means, but that's fine. Gets the conversation started, and then you can
repeat. And 3 steps.
Exactly. It's quite fun. It's a spacefaring game where you're part of a crew and you can have different adventures on different planets. Another game I tried in lockdown has been Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh, yeah. I used to play that when I was like 17, 18 years old.
Living my gothic teenage life. Very cool.
I was a Tremere. I do remember it very well.
I don't remember what clique I'm in, but I managed to make a vampire that is an indie rock and roll star, and you get to pick things like I've got a stalker and I'm famous, and my haven is a record shop. So into those two. And I have to say, role playing on Wednesdays and Saturdays every week has helped me so much in lockdown. Without that, I would probably be a little sad bunny, but it's been amazing.
If I mentioned to you earlier or on the call or before the call, we had the hobby hangout today with the guys, and it was so nice to just see some. I mean, that's the purpose of doing these hate casts, was just so we get to see some familiar faces.
Yay!
And just hopefully take a bit of the edge off the old isolation. Yes, and stuff. It's just really nice. So if you can get a chance to go on a Zoom call or a hobby hangout with someone from the club, then do, because I think it's good. It's good for your mental health, and we do care about that.
Yes. Yeah. I was meant to be on that call. For some reason, I thought it was this evening. I was watching RuPaul's Celebrity Star thingamabob.
Oh, yes. I watched that last night.
Yeah. It's not as good as the normal, is it?
It isn't. No, I didn't. I mean, it's been... Okay.
Wait. Just quickly
where we start talking about RuPaul's Drag Race. If you haven't seen it, maybe skip forward 15, 20 seconds.
If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Watch
Okay.
it. That was season 5.
Who is your... Okay, just one thing. I really want Crystal to win.
Yeah.
Oh, who do you want to win? Jada?
Yeah.
She's good.
Yeah. I think Sherry Pie's going to do really well.
I know. So anxious about that. Cannot tell you. It's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So every time she does well, I'm like, oh, well.
Oops.
So, yeah, I think Gigi Good could win, though.
Yeah, she's looking pretty primed to win.
I'm kind of getting a bit bored of her just looking perfect.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to have to pull something out of the bag. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, because it's like Crystal's makeup. I'm a bit like,
Well, the thing is...
It's not to my taste, but at least it's interesting, you know.
Yeah. Do you remember Violet Chachki?
Yes.
Because she was like, look, look, look. And then as it got later, she really picked up and she was smashing it in those big challenges.
That's my least favourite season.
Yeah, it's a terrible season, but Gigi should be now doing that kind of transparent, you know, she should be now doing better in everything, and she's not. So we'll see.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And thank you for joining us today for our RuPaul podcast that we're doing today.
Sorry. Back on track.
Back on track. Question 3. What does gaming mean to you?
Oof.
Nice question to answer.
Reality, life is suffering. We're on a rock hurtling around the sun. The only real purpose I can find in life is trying to make other people's journeys more pleasant, be loving, kind, do good things. And I think gaming is a huge part of bringing friends and community together and doing something that you really enjoy. I'm also sober, so it's nice to have a fun activity that doesn't mean I have to get slaughtered or sit in a pub, you know, and the only thing to focus on is booze. And it allows me to express myself and be silly and creative. Yeah. And who wouldn't want to live out like fantasy world or playing board games?
Yeah.
You know, I don't like football. My Saturdays are free.
Yeah, no, people are like going, oh my God, there's no sport. How I can't cope. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I hadn't even noticed.
It's so blissful.
My radar.
I know.
Like makes absolutely like no difference to me.
Since lockdown, I have to say, I started writing a game. I'm really excited about it.
Oh.
And on Sundays, I just do an open invite. Hey, I'm looking at characters. Can people come help? And we talk about what this game could be like and how we would make it work. And it's giving me a little creative project to get my head into as well. So
yeah, I mean, it's a time when you can do things, isn't it? At the moment, I think it's good.
Yeah. Unless you have a 5-year-old who wants to play with daddy.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's he's my priority, obviously.
Yay.
Yeah. I'm getting stuff done. It makes me ration out all my models. I can't just paint them all. I would have had them all done by now, and I'd be like, what am I going to do now?
So is he painting other stuff? Is he doing colouring and drawing while you're painting?
I do all my painting when he's gone to sleep, when he's in bed. Although today for Hobby Hangout, that's the one time during the week I'm like, I'm doing my thing. Hobby Hangout, and you are watching the Willoughbys today. It was a good cartoon. He enjoyed it.
I reckon if you get him interested in it, he's going to be a world-class painter by the time he's a teenager.
He painted a Shark Man. He painted a Marder 3. He painted some Sigmarines, what they call this, Sigmarite warrior guys.
Oh, yeah, them.
You're going to be building a Cromwell tank later on.
Oh, best dad ever.
I know. So it's like, he wanted to come on the Hobby Hangout. And like, well, we're kind of doing a thing because sometimes the guys use some F-bombs.
Uh-oh.
It's like best to not have William involved in that. So, yeah. So I said, I'll do this, and later on we can build this tank together.
Cool, Dad.
Yeah. Right. That sounds like a good place for us to take a little break, Mira.
Okay.
So we're going to stop there for the moment.
Okay.
We'll come back in a bit. So here's one for you, Mira. What artists inspire you?
Painting wise.
Artists. It's very loose.
I don't I think in the club, I'm very inspired that we have Golden Demon winners.
Yep.
Because it makes me feel like we're a winning club. That's bad, isn't it? That's the cheerleader in me.
Yeah.
Aesthetically speaking, if I ever go to like an art gallery or something, it's generally for someone who's put up massive slides or swings, or the woman who put, the mirrors up.
I was thinking of like a projector.
It's normally Dave Gorman. Yeah. No, Marina Abramovich is one of my favorite artists. She's very conceptual and she
absolutely.
does.
My favourites are, but for the people at home who maybe don't know who Marina Abramovich is, maybe you could let us know what her work is like.
So she's a very thoughtful woman, and she'll have an exhibition where you'll come in and you'll be sat down at a desk and they'll tip a pile of rice on the desk and you count the grains of rice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or you'll just walk up and down and you're really in the moment. There's a lot of meditative moments to her art and stuff like that. And I basically like installations and exhibitions where you can walk in and just be like, at lunchtimes when I'm feeling, this is a sad story, but an uplifting story. At lunchtimes, I had a really, really bad breakup. I think everyone remembers it because I made sure everyone.
Well, I started mocking you then before I found out what the story was going to be. I'm really sorry.
No, you could keep up that music for the whole thing. Yeah. And then it was in 2017 and I was so miserable at work. All my colleagues were looking after me that I pretend I felt okay so they wouldn't have to look after me forever. And I realized the National Portrait Gallery was in walking distance.
Yeah.
So I'd go and hang out with like the Queen or, various, barons, bewigged folk. And I got really obsessed with just like deciding I'm going to go and look at all the 60s mods. I'm going to go and look at Mick Rock's exhibit. So I love a good portrait. But in terms of favorite artists, I mean, I just love all art.
Yes. Good art. Yeah, that's cool. That's good. A good answer. Do you have a favorite genre of movies?
I don't like horror films.
Yeah.
I don't like films about war or torture. Mm-hmm. We need to have a serious chat with whoever made that movie, Old Guy. Do you know about that movie?
Old Boy.
Old Boy.
Old Guy.
Old Guy. Old Boy.
Old Boy, yeah.
Why would you do that?
That's such a good movie as well. I'm sorry. It's such a good film, but it's all about,
It makes me feel horrible. I don't understand. Like, I love most fantasy novels and books. Game of Thrones, not for me. I don't understand. Like, life is hard enough. So any movies that are like basically an abject study in suffering, no. I still haven't watched Schindler's List. Yeah. Private Ryan, I was in there for 4 minutes. I left when the man's arm flew off.
Yeah.
I really miss you. I really miss you. Give me a comedy.
It's been a long time in lockdown. I'm sorry.
No, babe. It's all right. Lockdown fever. Any comedy, anything uplifting. Thank God that Netflix put all the Studio Ghibli stuff online.
Oh, yeah.
So I like films that make me cry in a good way. I've been watching, because I got Disney Plus for Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I've been watching Descendants, which is about the children of villains.
Oh, yes. We are planning to watch. We have Disney Plus here, and I think we're going to watch that at some point. Working our way through watching some old classic Disney ones. We are going to get to Descendants.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with Descendants. Yeah. So.
Well, I'll start watching it and we can start messaging each other.
Yay.
Watching RuPaul's Drag Race, we can start messaging about Descendants.
Yeah. I think cinema for me is an escape valve. I want to laugh or be uplifted. So any film, I love sci-fi and fantasy. I think my top 3 films used to be Wayne's World, Dude, Where's My Car, and Almost Famous. Mm-hmm. That's all you need to know about me.
Yeah. Films are all right.
Party on.
Oh, it was actually a brilliant film.
Dude, what does mine say? Sweet. What does mine say? Dude, etc.
Etc. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was going to ask this question: what makes you build a force for a game? So that could be an army, a war band. What makes you choose a group? And then we kind of spoke a bit about those Dungeons and Dragons guys that you've got for Frostgrave. But
Yeah.
what would make you think, yes, I want to start collecting and painting that group of models?
See, here's the thing.
Whimsy is allowed as an answer as well. Mere whimsy.
Here's the thing. When I am observing Blood Bowl or Warhammer, apart from the shouting, I'm kidding. They all look the same. Like they're all very uniform.
Don't look the same.
Do they have little faces? Or the expressions on the faces are different? Like there's a scared one, there's an angry one.
Well, as a shambling undead team would look nothing like an ogre team.
No, but if you're in a team, the team looks quite similar.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, they all wear a uniform. Because
yeah.
That's how teams do. They have uniforms.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, even I have to wear my Star Trek uniform when I'm still in...
I'm wearing the D20 role-playing top, especially.
That's a classic. But instead you lightly stroke his back. Love that. So the thing that really strikes me is like, and I can talk from my experience with Frostgrave, I never really wanted to get into it. Some friends were playing it, and then one of my friends, I think it was Tim, showed me a teddy bear warband.
Yep.
And I could instantly tell there was a story in there. It was like, Daddy Bear is like, we need this territory for ourselves. We need to build a life for our family. Yeah. We're going to go and take this. So whenever I'm like looking at minis to buy or creating a new character for role playing or even a warband, I like to have a little story in my head to give them.
Absolutely.
Even with Frostgrave, it's not a role-playing game, but I like the wizard to be saying, like, come on, remember the spell I told you, use this. And then the apprentice is like, I don't know if I could do it. And
it's such a small number of models that it's easy to have a theme and like a character that you're building up in your little war band of 10 models. So at the event, I chose that I had an evil wizard.
Yeah.
Drain the life energy from his models. They're all like withered and husked. Then he had there's a giant scorpion he had in his war band and stuff. And I was like, I just want to create this theme of like he's like a destructive elementalist. He was like using life energy to like really bad. I just like it's just fun to build up a storyline.
So what would you read into someone that chose like a really evil war band?
I'd say, clearly sociopath.
Is it similar? Like, are elves the good guys? Are elves good space marines? I don't.
Are elves, and that's the real question we need to ask ourselves, isn't it? Are elves space marines?
Who are the goodies and who are the baddies in Space Warhammer?
There are no goodies, is the answer. There's just different shades of bad.
There's a lot of books. There's a lot of lore, isn't there, for me to catch up on?
Spoilers, guys. There are no good guys.
If you had to say, if one person was like, I've got this much time left on Earth, I can read one book about Warhammer that would get me in there, what would it be? Is there? I knew it.
Mankind.
Which one?
Master of Mankind.
Writing that down. I'm going to read it.
It's it's a book of the Horus Heresy. It's the one that's really about the Emperor.
What's the Horus Heresy?
So,
okay.
In brief,
the
Emperor created 20 Primarchs who were to lead his 20 legions. 2 were lost, so we ended up with 18, and half of those fell to chaos. Now, chaos is the psychic manifestation of emotions, but there are 4 main chaos gods, and half of them fell, and they were led by Horus. And then they fought each other to the point where there was a climactic battle on Earth. Horus fought the Emperor. Not Horus. They fought. The Emperor killed Horus. Spoilers. And the Emperor was mortally wounded and placed in the Golden Throne, but basically put on life support.
Okay.
Until 40k, everything sort of stems from that onwards. The decay and collapse of civilization, but the world is so big that it can't fail immediately. It's taken 40,000 years of slow deterioration and so on, and
wow,
threats and so on.
And it all started from these physical manifestations of emotion. That's quite deep.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, so there's another world next door, which is the warp, and it's all these magic demons are the physical manifestation. They can jump into our world and cause all manner of trouble.
Oh, I'm kind of into that.
If you'd like to tell us more what you think, please comment below, and don't forget to subscribe.
That is the best I've ever heard it described.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
And is it anything to do with Egyptian?
Oh yes, because Horus, obviously. Well, I think when they were starting originally to write the stories, they obviously know the Egyptian mythology. Horus took his eye out and cast it away, and it came back and attacked him. So I think when they were obviously writing the original stories, someone must have been reading Egyptian mythology, and obviously that must have had a.
Wow, that's cool. I love Egyptian mythology, Stargate, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you know the man who invented Warhammer, or woman.
Yeah.
Have they ever been to the club?
Rick Priestley.
Yeah.
I don't think Rick Priestley has.
Oh, we should get him in when we're back.
And John Blanche is obviously a huge influence as well. He did lots of the art. Jez Goodwin is another classic. Next question. You sure you're not interviewing me?
I really like this.
Good fun, isn't it?
You're going to get so many comments going, that is not actually what it is at all. You got this wrong. You forgot to say this. And I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah. What's your next army project? And you may have already answered this, but what's your next project?
I think my next project is going to be working on development of this game, which is going to be set in an office, because working from home, I've realized how ridiculous and rich an environment an office is and how much I miss it and all the adventures I used to have there on a day-to-day basis. And also another big project I need to get sorted.
You know that officers and accountants is a role-playing system that already exists, yeah?
I've heard of that, but I think mine's a little bit different. I've heard a
rumor.
I think I first had the idea from I listened to the Magic Tavern, which is one of my favorite podcasts, and they play Offices and Desks.
Oh, there you go.
And they are amazing because obviously their characters are wizards and a talking shapeshifter, and they're so excited to be Dan Smith from finance.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely inspired by, I'm sure millions of other people have done it, which is why, I need to be really put a lot of thought and love into it to make sure it's fun. But the best thing about it is collaborating with really brainy friends. So I have the friend who knows how to do the maths for it. I have the friend who is so high up in office politics. He's giving me scenarios and storylines. I have someone else who's a game designer. So basically bringing people together to work on that. Yeah. But I need to learn how to DM on Roll20 because I'm just playing games, but I want to be more useful. So my next campaign will be me learning Roll20 to play more games for other people rather than just being a leech.
Yeah, no, that's a good project. If you know how to role play on Roll D20, perhaps you could reach out to Mira and give her a hand.
Tutorial me. Yeah. It looks so hard. It looks like really hard, but
yeah. I think practice is a big thing as well, isn't it? Just getting on and practicing probably helps.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, I think it's time for another break.
Okay, let's do the break thing.